Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away, and boy, it's been an age since we last seen this, and I'm nowhere near dressed for the occasion, so haha. And also this, because we're going to be doing stage 11 or issue 11, the Fanhome release, and build the Star Trek Enterprise D. And I still remember how to do all of those special effects. It's been an age, so let me show you what we had done. So this is where we were up to at the moment. We were working on the Cobra neck as well, which I have right here. But you know what? I can't even remember where we got up to on this. It's been so long, but I wanted to get on with this. So that is how that's looking at the moment. Now, I don't know. Let me just gently put that down there. I don't know if this is still available. I have put a link in the video description, and on all my links, you'll be able to see all the products that I'm building on the channel at the moment. But before we jump into it, I have a merch on the map. Now, today's merch on the map comes from Benjamin Mail. I hope I pronounced your name right. He comes from Normal in Illinois. I love that word, Illinois, which I don't know how far that is. We're going to find out in a minute. But he also is building the Enterprise D. As a matter of fact, I believe he's just finished his now. He's wearing a World of Wayne shirt, as you can see there, standing in front of the Enterprise D. Looks absolutely brilliant. I can't wait to get to that stage, because I haven't actually finished an Enterprise D yet, believe it or not. How far is Benjamin from Corby? I'm guessing 4,500 miles I'm going to go for. Illinois, that sounds about right, perhaps 5. No, 4,500, let's go for that, am I right? Yeah, okay. If you want to appear on merch on the map, please, please, please head over to my Dashery store. You'll see all my artwork for all the t-shirts that I've done there. Get yourself a t-shirt, take yourself a picture, tell me where you're from, email me, and I'll ensure that you appear on merch on the map. But it's been about 4 months since we did the last one, so without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so here's the magazine, and I will just break it down by stages. So in the first part, stage 39, some inventory parts here. Looks like we've got some panels that we're putting together here. We're going to be putting some panels, by the look of it, on the side of that Cobra neck section there. And it looks like we are putting windows in again and are putting this onto the saucer section. Gets tested as well. So that's going to be, what stage is this one? Hang on, is that stage 39? That's stage 39. That's the first stage we're going to do. So here's stage 39. Let's get everything out. And basically, whereas we put this side on the battle deck section, we're going to be putting this side on that section. So I do need to bring that up. And just to remind you, that's what that looks like there. So what we're going to do is we're going to be taking this section of that battle bridge, and I'm going to be putting this over the top. This is going to, once it's in, put the windows in for us. Then I'm going to be putting this reflector over the top just loosely, because I do need to put these wires in. These wires are coming from the bottom of this section here. So one in the top, and just make sure that gets pinned in. And then I need to put one in at the bottom. Perfect. They're not moving anywhere. And then I need CP screws, which I've got here, to hold that into place. So one in there. And then we've just got two here. When that's in place, I'm just going to leave that for now, put that to one side. And I've got this panel here for the main saucer section, which is a metal panel. And there's no need to put this in a helping hand or anything, because there isn't much to do on this one, but I am going to need to cut off these lifeboats. When you cut them off, you do want to leave the little diamond on the end of them. Don't cut them completely flush. Otherwise you're going to get a little bit of light bleed. And I will be stopping the light bleed by just putting some insulating tape behind these. But I'll just cut these all off and put these all into place in this section here. Now, the red line needs to face towards this edge here. So let me just get all of these in. And I do have some windows to put in here. We've got one black one and then two clear. Then stage 31 we were supplied with this panel here. So I need that now. And I'm going to be putting some lifeboats and windows in here. So probably best if I click my fingers. There you go. They're in place there. Okay, I'm going to gently put this to one side and bring over the saucer section. And it might be best on the top camera, but I've got two lights here which are going to be going into these ones here. I've got a red and blue, and I've got a yellow and black one. They're going to go into the points there, and they're held in by the panels I'm about to put in. So the biggest panel first, U.S.S, will be going under here. And I want to secure that in with BM screws first. Now I've got one in, so I should be able to let that go now. It looks like there's 6 of these screws to put in all the way around. And every BM screw I'm putting in, I am putting in oil to ensure that goes in really tight and hopefully lies this panel perfectly flat. Now once those BM screws are in, we're going to be putting these flanged EM screws in. But if you remember from my previous stages, these are just going to be holding the LED in. You don't want to put these in tight. They're not going to have any say in how flat the panel is. So as soon as you get it hand tight, stop. These are going in 4 places here. Sure, I'm not pinching any wires, which is hard, especially on this build because there's so many of them. See how that looks? And when that's in, it should look like that. Perfectly flat on there. Now a very strange thing here is that I haven't put a panel in, which I should have put in, and I don't understand why I haven't put that panel in. So I will just install this panel in now, because obviously I didn't do it before. Yeah, absolutely no idea how I missed that panel off there, but it's on now. So I'm going to be putting on the panel that we just created a second ago. That's going to go into this space here, and again I'm going to be slotting these lights in. So let's bring that over. Not too worried about putting the lights in at the moment, I just want to get this lined up. Another recommendation I'm going to give you, which just drives me crazy otherwise, is to put some painter's tape just on the other side of this, otherwise the windows are just going to keep popping out. So as you see, I've got some painter's tape here. I'm just going to put this over here. And just make sure it presses against these windows. And it just gives you a little bit of a chance of these not pinging out when we put this underneath, you see. So let's get this in position. And I'm going to screw just the back one in gently at the moment, like that. Because I do need to slip these lights in now. And again, ensure that these bulbs don't go too far down in here, otherwise they'll impede the plate when we put that on. And then get this screwed in nice and tight. With the M screws, you can put these in really tight. If they end in a P, just be very careful. Very careful. At the same time, I'm making sure that even though I do have wires going under the frame here, they're not pinching enough to actually break the wire. Because if that happens, you're going to have a bad time. And once we've done that, once again, gently put these EP flange screws here to hold those bulbs in. It's the last one just going in here. We'll turn this over. Peel back this. And there you go. Another clean panel on there. That's all there is to do in that stage. Before I move on, just so you know, that one stage took me exactly 1 hour. Okay, so in stage 40, once again, panels, windows, reflectors. And we do get to test that, and we're going to be putting this into the saucer section as well. And then we are going to connect that to the board that's in there. By the look of it, we've got another panel to put in as well. And that's going to look like that. And then we're putting the other reflector on that bottleneck section there. Boy, there's a lot to do in this pack. I forgot how much there is to do in each one. You know, that painter's tape thing works better than my helping hands thing did. So I'm gonna stick with that and do the same thing this time as well. That worked a treat. Why didn't I ever figure that one out first time? And you know what? People have been screaming at me to do it that way, and I've just been ignoring it, so it's my own daft fault. Okay, so once again, I'll click my fingers, we'll have all the windows and lifeboats in here. And there you go, they're all in there. We've got a reflector panel to put over the top. So one is just going to go on this side here, which is just going to go on there. And I will have one going on the other side just here. That's going to give you an idea where they're going, but I do need to put these cables in. Now, we've got a really big long lead here, which is a red and white one, or red and grey, colour blindness. That's going to go in this side, which I've actually just pushed into the panel here. Then on the other side, I've got a green and yellow one from this one going in, just there. The other side of this is going to be going into the other reflector, but let me put this one into position first. Perfect. And I'll just get the other side into here, and then get that into position. Excellent, they're all in. We're going to hold them in with DM screws. And we're going to need 8 of these. And perfect, they're all in there, so if I take these off, lovely and clean. We're going to be putting this into the saucer section here, and it's going to be going into the position just here. So I'm just planning out the best place to feed these cables, which looks to be just down there. And then this one can probably go down this hole just here. And we've got a lip to ensure that this goes into the one at the bottom. And that's just slotted in there absolutely perfect. So then I can turn this around, check my cable connections, they look okay. And I'm going to screw this into position with 2 BM screws. Actually screwed in right at the back here. So one here. And the other one, you're going to have to kind of move your wires out the way just to get to it. But it's down there. Make sure that's nice and tight. Let me just take a look at that. Again, lovely and smooth. I like that. So I'm going to be plugging this wire in, which was the red and grey one, into this port just over here. Probably best on the top camera. And then the other one I've got here is just going into the plug just there. There we go. They're in position. Now we're not finished with that yet, because I've got this piece, U.S.S. This came in stage 32. We're going to be putting that on now. So let me just show you this side again. This is going to go into this area just here. And again, I'm going to just plan out where I'm putting the cables. So if that's slotting in there, we've got a bridge on there. That's going to go down into that section there. So I'm going to put the cables into that section. And let's see how this sits. Yep, that looks like it's going to sit absolutely perfect in there. Well, I've got those cables. And once again, I'm going to be holding those in with 2 BM screws. Turn it over. Get these screwed in. One there. Now it doesn't want us to plug that cable in yet. When I'm screwing these in, what I'm looking for is that it's flat between this panel here and it's in line with that panel there as well. So it's nice and smooth, as you can see. Now I can put that to one side. All that's left to do then is bring over this bottleneck section. Got the windows here, and I'm just going to be pushing those into there like that. And that's the end of that stage. So in stage 41, once again, we're creating a massive panel here, putting the reflectors on, putting this onto the saucer section. Then I'm putting the reflector panel on that bottleneck section just there, making sure the light lines up in the middle. We certainly are putting panels into the saucers now. We haven't been doing that the last few packs, but this one, certainly making up for it. I can see this being a 3-hour video, so it'll be interesting to see how this... You know what? Thank God for those Q panels. You know what? Thanks for those... You know what? Thank God for those Q panels. You know what? Thank good... You know what? Thank goodness for those Q powers. Otherwise, this would be very monotonous. There you go. They're all in place. We're going to be putting a reflector in there, which looks like this. And again, line this up and put this over the top now. Once I'm happy with how that's going to go, I've got some lights to put in here, but we only want to put one in at the moment. So I'm just going to put that in this side, holding that in with BP screws. It takes 3 of these. Now I'm not going to take that painter's tape off just yet, because I want to line this up to where it's going to be going on the saucer section, which, if we look over here, where we've got these 2 panels on their own, this is going to go next to it just on the outside here. So again, I'm just looking at how the best way to put this in is going to be. It's going to kind of sit on like that. I'm going to be having one cable coming up through there, which means the other one's going to be coming in from this side over here. Just ensuring I've got no pinched wires. I'm holding them in with CP screws. Now what I've noticed, I'm just going to take this off again just for a second, because we do have a lip on this one. What I'm going to do is make sure that this edge here is going over underneath the lip on this one just here. So I'm putting it at an angle, as you can see here, to ensure that it is underneath that lip. Once again, I'll get that screwed in. If need be, loosen the screw of that plate next to it, just so that you've got some give to get this under here. And there you go. That is how that looks. If you don't do that right, you're going to have a gap down here. All I'm going to do then is I'm going to batch up all the wires that are coming from this section here now. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like this. And I'm going to put a cable tie around them. They're going to be feeding through these brackets here. So they're coming up through here. So I'll cable tie just this section around here. Keeps the wires nice and tidy. I can put that to one side. Bring over this bottleneck section again, and just like last time, I'm going to be putting the lights into the reflector here. One there, and getting this into position. So I've got no worry about the bottom one staying in. Let me just feed this top one in. I'm holding this in place with CP screws. Need 3 of these. Now I've got a lens here looking just like this, which is going to go into the hole for the photon torpedo here. It sort of slots in here like this, and as you can see, that's in there like that there. And then I'm going to be tidying these wires up as I push this into place. Now while I'm doing this, I may have to loosen the top down again to get this underneath where it needs to be. Bottom's the easy bit to put in. I am just going to loosen these screws from the top and get this pushed into place. And there we go. You heard that snap in then. Everything is in place. So we've got this little lip here. See, we've got a little lip there to put in. So I'm going to have to just take that out to get that back in again. There we go. That's in there. Excellent. Okay, BM screw first. The BM screws are going to go all around the top here. So one there, one in the middle, and one just on this end here. Just tighten these top screws back down again. And there you go. That's all into place. And as you can see here, everything lights up. That's all there is to do in that stage, actually. Let's turn the lights off so you can see that. Perfect. So recording time's currently at 1.5 hours. Last stage of this pack is stage 42, where we're doing a panel like this, and we're going to be putting that, by the look of it, in there just like that. We've got some details just to put on that bottleneck section there as well. This is the rest of the magazine. Let's do this last stage. It was quite welcoming coming back to this, I have to say. Here's everything here. Get all this out. And once again, I've got windows to put into a panel here. So, click my fingers. Once again, they're in place. All good. I'm going to be putting over the reflector panel here. They're lined up. Excellent. I've got some bulbs to put in here. And I am allowed to put both of these in at the moment. So you know what, it might be better to actually put them in first, because they do fit in here quite tight. All good, that's held in with BP screws. And I need 3 of these. I'm going to do the instructions a little bit out of order now, because while I've got a clean workstation here, I'm going to bring over that bottleneck section and just skip forward and put these parts in here. They look like this. I've got some adhesive on the back of them. You don't want to bend these, so be very gentle when you're handling them. And that's going to hide the screw holes here, you see. So this one's going to go in here, just like that. Excellent. Now we haven't got one for that side yet. We are just working around this side at the moment. I've got this little one at the back. Perfect. And then these just push into place with lugs. So I've got one here, and that's going to hide the screw hole just under there, and then finally this one here, which hides that last screw hole on this side. Very clever. Now we've got screws here, and that's what these blanker heres are for. Blanker heres? What sort of English is that? The thicker one that looks like this is 42J. That's going to go onto this screw hole here. Perfect. And then we've got a more shallow one which goes into the one below it. Just like that. Now I have got some spares there, so I'm going to keep them in my pot here, but that's looking good. Okay, let's put that to one side and bring over the saucer section. I'm going to need my CP screws at the ready, and this is going to join up the panels. Again, on the top camera, or one of these cameras might be able to see it, in the gap just here. Putting the lead through the larger hole here. I think that's where it needs to be. I could be wrong, but let's check. Yep, that's going to go in fine there. Now I'm going to massage this into position. See what it looks like from the other side now. I can take this off, and I'm glad I did, because we have a lip on this side now, as you can see. So I'm going to need to make sure that when I put this in, the lip is going underneath this one. And again, if you're having problems doing that, it means I'm going to have to loosen that one there, so I can get that in. Let's do that now. That's going to be good in there. I can tighten this one back up again. And I've got my CP screws here. We need two of these. One just going in there, and one just going next to it into this position here. Again, I'm just checking wires, make sure nothing's trapped. I think we're good. Let's get that in. And as you can see, lovely and smooth, got in perfectly. And that is the end of that pack. And as if by magic, I'm back in my civilian clothes again. I had a bit of sound issues in that one I had to try and figure out. And because I'm using a new software now, that was a living nightmare. But I'm hoping it was bearable. But that was issue 11 completed. And issue 12 will be coming soon. But I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.